All right. So we can move on then to the code of ethics for IACT and IMDHA, and thanks for that, Mark. Good answer. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Next, we would have an item-by-item review of the Code of Ethics and the IMDHA. And as per the information, and you can find this on the website, note that the codes of ethics are the same for the IACT and IMDHA. Also note that there is the code of the ethics committee procedures are the same. The standards of practice are different, though, for a reason that counselors and therapists with IACT are required to comply with behavior concomitant with their highest level of certification and licensing, like we had talked about a little bit earlier, and it varies from state to state and regulated from state to state. IACT ethics complaints would necessarily or would ordinarily be handled by whatever state protocols are available or required by their governing authority. And because, as a rule, hypnosis profession is not regulated, the IMDA has developed and adopted a protocol to deal with ethics complaints as well. And the guidelines are set out on the websites. They're exactly the same. In the event that a complaint comes against either a member of the IACT or the IMDHA. So we start with the preamble, and the most important thing to remember about the preamble is that these code of ethics, these common set of values, is the primary goal is the welfare and protection of the individuals and groups with whom members work. It's not really a protection for the member, it's a protection for the people who the group works with. Members shall maintain the highest standards of competence. Remember, we were talking about the idea that it's a balance between conscience and competence. The conscience of the group is within the spirit of this code of ethics. And the first issue that is confronted with this code of ethics is that of competence. We're required to train, we have to maintain in areas that we're trained and have demonstrated competence, and we have to maintain knowledge of relevant and scientific and professional information and development. And what we need to do is we need to either attend classes, or we can continue our education through the idea of approved CDs, DVDs, and there's a list of materials that are available through the association. In the event that you run into a situation that you don't feel competent, you either decline servicing the client that involve areas where you don't have adequate training, or you refer a client to another more suitable practitioner who is trained in that topic. And it's whether or not that particular person is a member of the association or not. It's whether or not that person is expected to give suitable service to that client.
Okay, so I have a question from Mary Valley, who, as I mentioned, isn't with us. We're hoping that she'll join us later, but on her behalf, I'd like to ask Mark this. She says in the Code of Ethics section, it states that practitioners will decline services that involve areas where the members does not have adequate training, or may elect to refer to another more suitable practitioner who is trained in that topic, as you just said. Mary asks, please clarify what is meant by in that topic. For example, a person who is well and properly trained in general hypnosis, but may not have a special certification in a specific area of service, such as smoking, pain, or anxiety. But if that member is skilled in general hypnosis, the member should be considered as having adequate training to accept clients with those issues. Is that correct or not?
Well, this is a very, very subjective question from the standpoint that a lot has to be determined by the practitioner themselves. These are personal relationships, remember, and if a person is generally trained in hypnosis, we're going to be covering, if you've been trained, you're going to be covering those areas of smoking, weight, fears, pain, etc. But there, remember those certifications that you put after your name or whatever, or those certifications that you put on your wall. It does tend to enhance what the expectation is. So that's between you and basically your client. I think a better word may be, whether or not on that topic, may be in that area of expertise, that the person feels confident. You would know if you have never helped anyone. You've had some of the training. It doesn't count out the very first time. I remember my very first individual stop smoking client was in 2005, January. I remember that very well, because even though I had been trained, I had been through several mock situations. There's always that first time. And I don't think that necessarily counts you out as to taking care of someone who has an issue with smoking.
Great.
But it's a question of development of expertise.
Yeah, thanks.
So the next area that is included is the area of integrity. And integrity is the idea that you just need to clarify to the relevant parties the roles that they're performing, and also to remember to include an explanation of the function that you rely on a scientifically or professionally derived knowledge to back this up. I have the scientific evidence of all of these proofs for stopping smoking, pain, studies done with weight loss, that I can show the client, look, I'm doing this stuff because the research says that, and look, here it is. This was done at Harvard. This was done at the University of Connecticut. These are all studies by people other than hypnotists who are convinced that this is the way to go. This is provable, and it's not me saying this. This is scientific proof that what I do has a lot of integrity to it. It also, the next thing of concern is informed consent, and a lot has to do with what we were just talking about. Making sure that your client is confident with your competence and your integrity, and that you put everything out on the table as early in the professional relationship as is reasonably possible, to make sure that you get their informed consent before you continue. Any fees and financial arrangements that you make in this regard should be reduced to writing, and I stress the word is should be, because that's the way it is in the Code of Ethics. It's not a requirement, but it's some really, really good advice, and we'll be discussing that a little bit more when we get into contracts and to the reasons that we have things reduced to writing. But they should consult with legal and financial experts in your particular governmental jurisdiction to assure that your fees and practices are in compliance with all of the laws, all of the regulations, all of the policy that may apply in your particular jurisdiction.